Welcome to our Jackson home, front porch discussion without the front porch. I'm here as always with my partner on the mic, Luke Pruitt. How are you doing this morning, Luke?
Hey, Jim, I'm doing great. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing fabulous, and you know we got a couple great guests here today.
We do. We have a crew here today, I feel like.
Cari Phillips from the Comeunity Cafe, and if you've never heard of this place, you gotta hang by there, man.
It's the up-and-coming restaurant in Jackson.
But the menu changes every day, and we'll get more to her later. We also have, tell us about our musical guest, Luke.
The Flying Colors are here with us today. Rob and Jay Griffith, 2/4 of the Flying Colors, are here with us today.
Excellent. And as always with every guest here, we have them answer a listener question. Let's introduce our first guest, Cari Phillips.
Hey, Cari.
How you doing?
Hello, I'm doing well. Glad to be here.
This is Cari Phillips. Perhaps sounds a little bit nervous to be on not live radio. This is not going out live, so no worries there. We have our listener question. Now, this listener question comes from a Stephen P. right here in Jackson, Tennessee. And he has an interesting question. He says, how do you garden organically? Isn't the whole process of gardening organic?
And that's let's go along with this. Cari is a farmer, and so a gardener, if you will, and she works with Comeunity Cafe here in town. So expound upon how you came to enter the world of gardening and to care about the earth in that way.
All right. Well, first I'll answer Luke's question. I came to gardening kind of randomly. I was a PR major and photography minor at Union. So I had been on the creative side of things for most of my life until I got kind of fed up with the health problems of my family and my health problems and started looking into how to eat healthy. And through the help of a mentor of mine, I started learning about organic food and how to get rid of the processed food that I've been eating. And so through that process, I started going to the farmer's market more often, and I bought my first tomato plant junior year that summer, named it Tommy, loved the tomato plant, and then that just kind of started it all. I started collecting plants outside of my dorm room, lining the sidewalk, and started learning more and more about it. And then I applied for an apprenticeship in North Carolina. They only accepted 4 people. And I had the experience of that one tomato plant and a couple other plants that I'd killed. And so I really wasn't sure if I was going to get it or not, but really felt like it was what I was supposed to do.
Now, did you weird your roommates out because you said you were collecting plants? Some like sort of, you see like a Jodie Foster movie from the 90s, I'm collecting the plants. So you mean specifically like vegetables and fruits?
Yes. Yeah, my roommates were a little bit weirded out, but they loved it. They got to eat some of it, so that was great.
Yes, that's always good. It's what I call the little red hen syndrome. You can pretty much do everything you like as long as you share it.
That's right.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's keep going. Okay, you're talking about the North Carolina program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was called Anathoth, and it was an apprenticeship program. It lasted all summer, and so I got accepted. It was just a really hilarious thing. They interviewed me one night, and I had missed the interview because it was on Eastern time, and I didn't know. So I was thinking there was no way. This was not going to happen. And then they called me back the next day, and I had gotten accepted. So I graduated Union and then shipped off to North Carolina for a whole summer. And it was the hardest but also most rewarding summer of my whole life. Really hard work alongside really intense reading in theology, philosophy, ethics, and then more in-depth agricultural stuff. We got to study under Norman Wiersbe, who's now one of my favorite authors, and got to work closely with the professors at Duke and some of the work that they're doing in the field. So I really feel like that gave me a good start to get going, or at least it gave me a framework for how to answer questions. Farming is all trial and error anyway, so I've done a lot of that the last 2 years since leaving Anathoth, but at least it helped to get a foundation that I didn't have because I hadn't studied it prior to that experience.
Yeah. So you do the program, and you're thinking, I want to do this long term. Is that what you came away with, that this could actually be a career?
Halfway through, I would have said, I'm ready to be done. I'm ready to go back to Jackson and do something else. But because I was encouraged to just stick it out and keep trying, the end result was just a love for it that I couldn't give up. I couldn't stop thinking about how to make this possible in Jackson, because halfway through college, I let go of my dream to go off to Africa and help all the people, because I realized that there's so much poverty and oppression and hunger here. And working through Heartland Ministries at Union is where I kind of saw that. So tying all of that together at Anathoth, I realized that this is something that Jackson really needed.
Ironically, since organic foods and the whole GMO thing is so prevalent right now, in your YouTube video, you described that you had certain roadblocks after roadblocks of getting organic gardening in Jackson. I mean, what were some of the roadblocks? Was it just was that the period of time before it became in the public consciousness, or before?
A lot of it was just finding a space and finding resources. So our cafe is located in the middle of downtown, and we were trying to figure out how to do the garden. We had been doing it at Amy's house. My boss, Amy, we've been doing it at her house, and that was working okay, except for the clay soil and all of that. But it was, it's just hard to kind of get stuff rolling when you don't have access to a lot of plants that are affordable, right, or even really good organic compost. The closest organic compost is in Nashville, and there's no way we can get a truckload of that here. Right. So a lot of it was just things like that. And starting off as a nonprofit, we don't have this crazy budget to be able to ship stuff in, and so we had to just kind of work with what we had. And we've been finding compost in the city, and we've gotten a lot of plants donated, but it's just taken a lot longer because we're really the only ones within the city limits that are trying to do larger scale organic farming.
And eventually you found a plot right next to the cafe. You mentioned that it was right next to your church, which I think is a cool way of God providing. Mm-hmm. The space, what you need is right where you need it when you need it. Mm-hmm. That's cool to me.
Yeah.
Some of those things were pretty hilarious. We always talk about how things just fell out of the sky when we needed it. Like that plot, I had been looking at several different things and they just weren't working out. None of the options were really following through. And then Amy and I were sitting at Panera, actually the same day we came up with our slogan as well, to love, to feed, to dignify. But that day we were like, I wonder about that plot from St. Luke's. And then someone called her, and then she asked them, and they said, oh yeah, you can use that. So it just happened that person called at the right time when we had just asked that question, and then they graciously gave us the land to use.
Will you tell us a little bit about Amy and yourself and your vision for Comeunity Cafe and where that came from and the social justice element associated with that?
So I was doing organic stuff, organic farming and environmental stewardship at Union a little bit, but it still was also kind of having a hard time getting rolling. And at Food for All, my dinner co-op that I love so dearly, I was sitting across the table just sharing my heart for organic gardening in Jackson with several friends. And one of my friends in Food for All, Katie Hayes, said, you should really meet the lady that I live with. I think y'all would really get along and kind of share a similar vision. And so we got coffee, and it was an explosion of ideas and dreams and happy thoughts and just things that we wanted to get rolling. And that's when she shared with me her vision for starting the cafe. And that was about a year prior to it actually happening. And so we started working together. I actually started gardening on their property just for them, kind of in preparation for working for the cafe. But at that point, the cafe was just a really cool idea that she was working on. But because she's Amy Crenshaw, and because she has this gift at following through with what she says she's going to do, and she has this gift for getting people involved and organizing things, it happened when a lot of people were telling us that it wasn't going to happen.
Wow. So. We're here with Cari Phillips on Our Jackson Home. We'll be right back after a short break.
With a menu that changes every day, made from organic and locally grown ingredients, including vegetarian and gluten-free options, the Comeunity Cafe provides nutritious and delicious food, regardless of your ability to pay. At the Comeunity Cafe, you have the option of working an hour to pay for your meal. Visit the restaurant at 218 East Main Street in Jackson, or check out their website at comeunity.com. To love, to feed, to dignify, the Comeunity Cafe has a place for everyone at their table. Welcome back to our Jackson home. We're here with Cari Phillips from the Comeunity Cafe. And I got an interesting question. You mentioned the phrase to love, to feed, and to dignify. Could you tell us a bit more what that basically means?
Yes, that is something that we're always working out and trying to figure out what exactly it means. But it kind of encompasses our goals for the cafe. We want people to come in and first of all feel loved. We want them to feel welcomed into the space. We want them to feel like they are a part of the people that are there. So we don't want there to be separate roles necessarily for people who are coming in off the streets and then people who are coming in from wealthy backgrounds. So sometimes, guys that live on the streets will come in and wash dishes, and sometimes Amy, our boss, will be in there washing dishes, or I'll be in there washing dishes.
And that was something cool that Luke sort of hit on with the society part of it, is you can be a guy with a SUV and a $50,000 a year job can be eating right next to a guy that lives on the streets.
Yeah,
Right.
it's a communal endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
Has that been tricky? That dichotomy of trying to appeal to a business community that's downtown while at the same time being welcoming to all kinds of folks?
Yes, I feel like our mission statement is out there for everyone to see. So it's always something that we're having to recheck ourselves on. And are we really loving people? Are we really dignifying people? We're feeding people, yes, that part we've got down. But the other two are a constant just reminder that we need to be more gentle with all people, because we have people in suits and we have people, coming in off the streets that have had a really hard time. And sometimes the two don't mix, but that's why we're here. We're here to have the same table and to try really, really hard to do those things. We are not always perfect. We do not always do it in the best way, but we're trying. And we're trying to make that something that is normal, to sit with people you don't know, to eat with people you don't know. And for us as well, to work with people we don't know, and to share life with people that are very different from us. So,
wow. What about as a business model? Do you see the feasibility of growing your own food? How difficult has that been, or how easy is it?
That's a good question. We have a pretty nice sized plot of land, and I was really ambitious and planted a lot of things, and not all of them grew very well. So it's a great idea, and it's a great thing that we're trying to do, but the garden itself is not going to supply all of the lettuce, all of the tomatoes. So profitability wise, maybe on the lower side of things this first year.
Sure.
Lord willing, we'll get better and better as we go on, but we rely so heavily on other farmers and their generosity in donating things. But numbers wise and business wise, it's probably not the best idea. So we're going to go with it anyways.
Now, the menu changes every day, and I just got, when I did the research for the show, and I looked at the photos of the new menu is usually on Facebook. I've noticed you post that a lot. And I'm seeing things like smoked Gouda spinach wrap and dill. This is just not a pile of arugula with a stick in it saying, worship Mother Gaia, save planet Earth. This is real, like Gordon Ramsay food type stuff. This is off the wall flavor bonanza. I mean, tell us some of the creations that have come out of that kitchen. Do you have a dedicated chef?
We do. We actually have 3, and I would say 4 if you include Amy, because she's really good also. But we have an incredible staff that can make some of the craziest things I've ever heard taste so good. Jesse, Carter, and Kelly are our 3 main chefs, and then Amy often pitches in making soups and salads. And the things that they come up with blow my mind all the time. And I get to eat there every day for lunch, so that's pretty awesome. And the cool part about our menu changing every day is that sometimes Jesse will get there in the morning and he'll have to look in the fridge or look in the garden and look and see what he has. And often he's creating those things in the morning before everyone starts getting there. And it never ceases to amaze me, the things that they can come up with.
You got your own Iron Chef, basically.
Yes, they're really good.
For those listeners who have never been, it is an incredibly great space. I've never been and not had a phenomenal time, and it's some of the tastiest food in Jackson at an incredibly affordable rate that you can kind of define for yourself. Talk about pricing and how y'all approach that.
So we're a pay-as-you-can, donation-based cafe is kind of our lingo. That's how we phrase it. We do do have suggested prices for people who want to come in and know what they need to pay. But we always tell people they can pay whatever they can afford, or some people can pay a little bit more, which helps us pay for other people's meals. And so the pricing is $5 for one item, $7 for two items, and $9 for three items. And so you can kind of pick half or full, and we say that because we don't want people to leave a lot of waste on their plate. So if you're only going to eat half, then order a half. The pricing doesn't really change. It just helps cut down on waste, because sustainability is a huge part of what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
What are your hours down there if our listeners want to come down and visit and maybe donate their time and talents, or just get something to eat?
Yeah. Our open hours are 11 to 2 Monday through Friday, and then we've got 2 more Saturdays of brunch. So that's from 9:30 to 1. That'll end on September 27th. But we can take volunteers from 9 to about 4-ish until we're done closing. So we love having people to help us open and help us close.
My wife and I have known Cari since she was but a wee lad, as a college freshman, and
As a wee lad.
A wee lad. She was a boy then. No, not really. And Cari is the consummate artist. She has always been a creator, which is why gardening and farming does not surprise her. So you're also a photographer as well. Speak a little bit to your love for the creative process and for photography. And do you have a business with that as well?
I do. I love photography because I love people and I love trying to capture those moments. I'm not as good at the crazy artistic kind of photography. I like moments. That's another part of why I love the cafe, because there's always some kind of moment happening. But the moment capturing part of photography is what I really love and what I feel like the Lord has gifted me at. Sometimes you have 2 seconds to get it, and if you don't get it, then it's gone. And so I've loved doing that. I started when I was in 7th grade, started playing around with this camera that was the size of a brick back then, and now I've moved towards sort of doing it professionally. Very small business. I don't want to get huge with it because I love what I do with the garden, and I don't think I ever will. I've been really blessed to do weddings and photojournalism for people who really love the Lord, really love each other, and I kind of want to keep it really small and really just enjoy that, because there's an intimacy at weddings, especially when you know the people, that is precious. And so I really have enjoyed being a part of that. And photojournalism was really where my heart was, but I get too attached, so I can't take pictures and then have to leave them. I did that for a summer in Texas and loved it, but I want to stay and get to know the people. And I get to see a lot of the people whose weddings I've photographed. They'll come into the cafe, or I'll see them at the farmer's market, or I'll see them around, and still get to be somewhat involved in what they're doing.
I did see some of your photographs on your Facebook page, especially the black and white shots. I'm a big fan of black and white photography. Ansel Adams, for instance, and I think of some of your best work, in my opinion, is the black and white photography.
Thank you.
Well, Cari represents so many of the things that we love on our Jackson home. She's cared for her local environment. She's a creative, and she's also great at procuring friendships. And we've got some of her friends here today. Flying Colors are here with us, and here's an original from them on our Jackson home.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Flying Colors with
My Head's As Big as the Universe. It's as big as the universe, and I got stars that lie so far away. At the back of my brain, memories like wisps of cloud and ink and water, swirling slow, the universe is all there. And I know the parts of town you don't go. My head's as big as the universe, with Ferris wheels and lights and bars, and Orient and trading cards. A rickshaw ride through empty streets and dusty sun, drinking deep, how can it be? Never seen the place that lives inside me, the place that's tied with wire and bits of string. I ring the bell and I wait outside with some flowers and the promise of change. But I'm not so sure it works that way, and I'm not so sure this feeling will stay. No, I still feel something. It's blocking the way.
I think we just go again.
It's not even funny because I can't.
Hey, we're back with our Jackson home, and we're having a party here with Cari Phillips and Flying Colors. Who's all in your band again, guys?
Well, it's me. I'm Rob Griffith, and my twin brother's name is Jay. And then there's another guy who's not here, whose name is Taylor Hare, and he plays drums and writes lyrics.
Shout out to Taylor Hare.
Right, now this is the section that everybody is either scared to death of or just enjoys immensely. This is the rapid fire question section of the Our Jackson Home podcast. And we had a song at one point which we will not sing because you guys actually can sing.
That's
and
true.
Luke and I cannot.
That's true as well.
Hey, I don't know what the song is.
Well, we'll come with it.
Here's how it works. Everybody in here can answer questions. Everybody here can ask questions. They could be about any subject, any topic, off the wall, straightforward. It doesn't have to be anything chiseled in stone. Okay? For instance, if I were to ask the group a question, what was your favorite cartoon growing up as a kid?
Justice League.
Oh, good choice.
Okay,
4-year-old loves
Justice League. Why was Aquaman in it?
Because Aquaman is awesome.
Like, he has the same powers as SpongeBob, basically. He can breathe
No,
underwater. He can talk to fish.
Yeah, he can talk to fish, but he can make sharks do stuff.
Okay, I get it.
Where are you at? And sharks doing stuff is
Like ride a bicycle, write a novel, or
ride a dolphin, attack with a shark. Where are you at on the Justice League Avengers challenge?
Justice League wins every time.
God, I love y'all more and more here.
DC
Favorite vegetable?
Corn on the cob.
Weird.
Maybe, I don't know.
But it gets in your teeth.
they make toothbrushes, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a question for you since you're on this subject. You're big into organic gardening, Cari, but is there something non-organic, just fake and processed, that is a guilty pleasure?
Well, we ate a funnel cake last night, and that was pretty awesome.
That counts. That counts, yes.
Dogs or cats?
You don't want to eat either dogs or cats.
Well, that's true. I love them both. It's hard. They're fluffy, so I can't.
Just an animal lover in general.
Yes.
It has to be fluffy, though. You can't cuddle up to like an iguana or something like that.
No. No lizards.
Well, we did see a guy cuddle up to an alligator last night at the West Tennessee State Fair. That was pretty scary.
You're kidding.
There was. Well, they were keen to tell you that it was not alligator wrestling, quote unquote. Although it really was alligator wrestling. What? And they said no alligators will be harmed, and then they proceeded to harm alligators.
It's funny, you have something that's basically 400 pounds with rather sharp teeth and a tail that can knock you off your legs, and there'll be no harm done to this alligator.
Wait, this just became an expose. Speak more of this alligator at the West Tennessee.
West Tennessee State Fair. Illegal alligator wrestling tonight at 7.
What happened? We walked over to that. There was like a little booth thing. And it was just a show.
Big kiddie pool.
And there was a big kiddie pool, and then they were playing this really loud music, and then they just released an alligator into the kiddie pool, and
he stuck his hand inside its mouth.
And then a guy had to go in there and stick his hand inside its mouth, and then wrestle it to the ground.
And then he picked it up and brought it on stage, and then jumped on it.
It was easily the best part of the West Tennessee State Fair.
Aquaman would be so disappointed.
Was the song "See You Later, Alligator"?
No.
I don't even know if there were any words. I think it was mostly like the deal was called Kachunga. I remember the guy's name was Kachunga, and he never talked. So I think the music was mostly like jungle drums, like.
Well, that's not
Kachunga.
That's not stereotypical at all, is it? Wow.
Top 3 bad styles you saw last night at the West Tennessee Fair.
Ooh.
Any midriffs?
Oh, so many.
Lots of midriffs.
And camo midriffs. Crop tops.
I remember that there was a guy who was wearing overalls, and the overalls were like tucked under his legs, so that was weird.
What?
Like
The overall straps were like tucked through his
legs.
You gotta put those straps somewhere, man.
So he basically looked like just a freaky marionette thing walking around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was wearing pants, except with weird things.
There were lots of fake long fingernails as well, which really got me. Like, how can you count money with those? It was all over the place.
There's that commercial where the Lee Press-on Nails commercial of the 90s where it showed the lady like typing with them, and it just creeped me out because how can you type with these things?
Mm-hmm. Or when people play piano with him and it goes on the keys.
Kitten on the keys, nail on the keys. 9-inch nails. That's probably where they got their name.
There was probably some of that last night too.
Yeah. So that's the state. The farmers market up here has always kind of confused me. I mean, it's a great place to go and whatnot, but you can have like tables of vegetables and fruits and really great healthy things, and then you smell this wonderful smell. Donuts.
Don't talk bad about those donuts.
Oh, I'm not talking bad about the donuts. It's just
so good.
It just seems like an off thing to have. It's like, okay, you can either go to the cholesterol side of the farmer's market or you can go to the farmer's side of the farmer's market.
Well, at least they're Amish, you know.
Yeah.
That's great.
Amish donuts.
Choose the cholesterol
That'd be
side.
cool.
Have you ever had this is a shout out to Pash story. He once bought vegetables from a side of the road stand, and once he unloaded them at home, he found the Walmart receipt. So you must be careful with your organic gardeners.
Yes.
Know your gardener, huh?
Yes, absolutely. And there are some farmers who will buy it from large corporate farm, like wholesale things, like at an auction, and then come and sell them at smaller markets. So you do kind of have to know who you're buying it from.
A question for the band here. You hear all these stories on the VH1. I'm not sure what the show is, Behind the Music or whatnot. They ask crazy things for the promoters to make sure that their contracts are being read. Like, didn't Van Halen or Led Zeppelin said no brown M&Ms in the little M&M container?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. So what would you guys ask? Crazy thing you would ask for to make sure your contracts are being read if you did a big venue show?
Oh, if we did a big venue show, our rider would include lots of juice.
Yeah, we both really love juice.
I don't know how. Yeah.
See, that's why West Tennessee bands will never be on Behind the Music. We ate so much juice, and then Rob had 5 Snickers in one evening. I had to talk him down, man.
I just heard about Jack White. My friend was working the show that Jack White played in Jackson, and he said that all of the cars that he and his band drove in had to have the dome light, like the dome lights in the car all the light bulbs had to be out. Isn't that so weird?
That is strange.
They had to take them out, not even just turn them off. That's so weird.
He's secretly a vampire, maybe.
It is.
I don't know. I don't get it. Does he just not want people to see him in the car or something?
I don't know.
Well, y'all are Nashvillians, and Cari, you're from Birmingham. Speak to having gone from a large market to small market life. What has been intolerable and tolerable about that transition? What's the good and bad that you've seen?
I think having gone to school at Union, it's very different. At least for me, being here, everyone. I mean, I just have so many friends who are already here, so it doesn't feel that different to me. And Nashville isn't that far away. Memphis isn't that far away, and so I don't know. If you like chain restaurants, then you're in the right place.
And Comeunity Cafe.
Someone mentioned chain restaurants, and there was some whispering like, "We're not supposed to talk about it." Yeah, let's get into that.
There's a lot of chain restaurants in Jackson. If you're listening to this, and you probably live in Jackson, you know that. But isn't that so weird?
Well, this is what our Jackson Home's trying to do. We're trying to expose that there's a market that needs to be met, you know? Local businesses. There are people here who desire things that are creative. And I was in East Nashville a couple of weeks ago, and if any area of the world gives me hope for Jackson, it is the crappy little place that should be East Nashville. But it's cool because a lot of creative, thoughtful people invested in it. So I think those possibilities on a smaller scale are available here.
With things like the cafe and like what Cole's doing at Alba. He's doing some music nights over there. That should be really cool.
Have you guys ever
Alba.
considered having amateur musicians setting up a little stage at the Comeunity Cafe and having musicians in Jackson come by and just offer their services? You know, playing a little music?
Yeah, if they want to, we'd be up for it. The hard part is that we're only open during lunch, and so it'd have to be kind of a dinner event. But we are going to do some fundraising events eventually, and I can probably talk these two into playing at one of them.
Well, Cari, thanks for being here. I think Flying Colors are going to stick around a little bit. It would be a miss if I didn't get a chance for you to speak to just life at City Fellowship and church life here and how sticking around has been intertwined with that.
Yeah. For the first 2 years of school, there was zero chance that I was going to stick around. And then the more I got involved at City, the more I got to know the incredible people that are there, there was no chance of me going anywhere else. It's a body like I've never seen before. There's a commitment to caring for one another. There's a passion for the city there are several other churches around that we're really close with that do have that similar vision for reconciliation in the city. But I feel like City has a very specific mission to just pursue that relentlessly and not give up when it's so hard. We've hit so many roadblocks trying to make these visions and these dreams happen, but Russ is not going to give up, and he leads us so gently and so personally, and we all just have seen the need to live in the area that we want to love on and put our children in the schools that we want to help. And it's been a really awesome and humbling experience to be a part of such a raw and real group of people. Even something as simple as our Facebook group for the women at City is always full of not just flimsy surface prayer requests, but here's a real deep raw thing that happened and I want you guys to know about it. Or like I post on there that I needed birdhouses. So it's just a real community of believers, and I don't want to leave for a long time.
Well, speaking of shared community life, you did mention your dinner co-op earlier. What's this dinner co-op that you speak of?
It is just really great. It's a group of 25-ish people. Most of them have young kids, And there's a few of us who are single, but we eat dinner together 4 nights out of the week at a different person's house on a 6-week rotation, started by the incredible Lisa Garner, who can just do anything she tries to do. And so we all eat dinner together, kids and all, craziness. You'll get hit with swords and, rubber bullets while you're trying to eat dinner. But everyone has a similar vision for healthy cooking, good food. No one's ordering Little Caesars. It's a real group of people who are all pretty different. We do have things in common, but we're pretty different, and it's really cool to share that fellowship, eating at the same table 4 nights out of the week. And we still sometimes are there for hours after just talking. It doesn't get old, which is surprising and awesome.
Because that's one of the things you got to love about Jackson. I mean, we get reports of the gang violence here in Jackson and crime here in Jackson, but you have to hear about the faith, the church-going people, the fellowship, and just the good people. So much bad stuff on the news. Jackson also has a plethora of good artists, good food, good faith, good fellowship, and Jackson is still a great place to live, regardless of all the bad stuff you may hear about in the news.
Well said. Well, thanks for being with us, Cari. And here's another song from Flying Colors. What are we hearing?
We're gonna cover Pink Floyd.
Yeah. This is called
"Wish You Were Here."
Take it away, Flying Colors.
So you think you can tell heaven from hell, blue skies from pain? Can you tell a green field from a cold steel rail, a smile from a veil? Do you think you can tell? Did they get you to trade your heroes for ghosts, hot ashes for trees, hot air for the cool breeze, cold cover for change? Did you exchange a walk-on part in the war for a lead role in a game? How I wish you were here. We're just two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl, year after year, running over the same old ground. What have we found?